So Stephanie Lazarus's parole has been rescinded. She's no longer going to be walking out on parole. And for those who don't know, Stephanie Lazarus is a former detective, and she was actually convicted of killing Shay Rasmussen. And this was way back in the 80s. And she wasn't arrested until 2009. So she was walking free for a long, long time. Now, I'm going to read a bit of the article here. She was recently, in recent years, up for parole, but that is no longer the case. So if I just read an article here from AP, it says, Los Angeles, a chance for parole was rescinded Wednesday for a former Los Angeles police detective serving a sentence of 27 years to life in the cold case killing of her ex-boyfriend's wife in 1986. Stephanie Lazarus was convicted in 2012 of killing Sherry Rasmussen, a 29-year-old nurse who was bludgeoned and shot to death in the condo she shared with her husband of 3 months, John Rutten. She wasn't arrested until 2009. The State Board of Parole hearings heard arguments from lawyers on both sides during a hearing Wednesday that lasted about 90 minutes. The three commissioners then met privately and returned with a decision to rescind a previous grant of parole, according to attorney John Taylor, who represents the Rasmussen family. Taylor said the family was all relieved by the decision. Lazarus had her parole time up front, evading arrest for 23 years after the murder. She has expressed no remorse for the cold-blooded execution of Sherry Rasmussen, committed while she was an LAPD officer. It's unfair to the family that she should now go free and enjoy her life while receiving her LAPD pension, Taylor said in a statement following the board's decision. A select committee of the parole board determined last November that Lazarus was eligible for parole. The full board took up her case in May, but the final decision was delayed until this week. An attorney for Lazarus couldn't be located Wednesday. Rasmussen's sisters and widower gave emotional testimony during May's hearing about their pain and described Lazarus as a conniving criminal who used her police training to cover up the killing. At her trial 12 years ago, prosecutors focused on the romantic relationship between Lazarus and Rutten after they graduated from college. They claimed Lazarus was consumed with jealousy when Rutten decided to marry Rasmussen. The case hinged on DNA from a bite mark prosecutors say Lazarus left on Rasmussen's arm. Lazarus was not a suspect in 1986 because detectives then believed 2 robbers who had attacked another woman in the area were to blame for Rasmussen's death. No suspects were found, and the case went cold until May 2009, when undercover officers followed Lazarus and obtained a sample of her saliva to compare with DNA left at the original crime scene, police say. Prosecutors suggested Lazarus knew to avoid leaving other evidence such as fingerprints. Lazarus rose in the ranks of the Los Angeles Police Department, becoming a detective in charge of art forgeries and thefts. Okay, so Lazarus's parole was rescinded, and this seems to be largely due to the statements that were said by the victims' families. So, you know, for me, I feel like Lazarus, you know, her walking free after being free for so long after committing the crime, I can understand why the victim's family felt that that was perhaps, you know, not the right thing. I can see that. I can see also on the other side, you know, trying to look at it objectively, if she did qualify for parole, because I've heard that she's been a model prisoner. Sometimes, I don't know what it's like in the US, but I believe in the UK that you're supposed to look at the rehabilitation, and if that person has been rehabilitated, that's strongly supposed to be considered, you know. And so the crime is never going to change, but if that person has been rehabilitated and is no longer a threat to society, those are the considerations that a lot of the time are taken. So I can totally understand why the family doesn't want her to be free. It's a difficult one, because if someone is rehabilitated, do you not let them free? But at the same time, you know, you have to remember the impact of the family as well. So I think that this case is a very sad case. I believe that, you know, Stephanie Lazarus, if she is a model prisoner and she's a lot older now, maybe that was something that she did in the moment, the heat of the moment. I don't know. You know, she was a lot younger back then. Maybe she did it in the heat of the moment. Maybe she regretted it for a long time, you know, and being older now, maybe she regrets it deeply, but it doesn't change the fact that it happened and a life was taken, and that can't be taken back. You know, you can't take that action back. So she does need to answer for what she's done. And when it's decided she's answered to what she's done and spent enough time in prison, that is up to the system in California, you know, the justice system. So let me know what you think. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you get a notification when I make a new video. If you appreciate my work and want to leave a donation, there's a link for that in the description. With that, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.